I've been teaching color for however long, and this was kind of born out of the uncomfortable experience of role playing. And I'm like, when
Yes.
you role play in class, you're like, you be the client, you be the stylist. Like, you struggle with
Stressful.
sometimes getting a scenario at all. But other times it's just the same old thing. Or you get the one stylist who's like, I'm going to be the Karen. Like, you guys need
Mm,
practice dealing with difficult people. Like,
mm-hmm.
no, we don't. No one needs practice dealing with you. We need practice dealing with reasonable people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And real life issues,
Exactly.
not ego issues.
And the
Oh,
weird
thank God.
things that you can't
Yes.
think of. Like, I would never have bleached my hair, dyed it black, and then bleached it again, and then come in and ask for red.
Right.
But sometimes that's what's happened.
That's what
Right,
exactly.
right.
It's so true. Basically, the physical aspects of the hair. So we've got everything we need to formulate. What our guest is coming in to ask for: starting level, percentage of gray, porosity,
Okay.
diameter, density, texture. So we'll say for the diameter of the hair, obviously is diameter, and texture just refers to curl pattern. And then what they're asking for: desired level, tone, previous color, and if for service you roll vivid, that's
Show the
the
audience.
vivid D20.
Okay.
So you can do between 1 and 3 services, depending on how complicated you want to get.
Okay.
I usually have people just start with one. Texture dye is actually one of my favorites because I tried to really math this one.
Can I see that?
Yes, absolutely. You can touch any of them. So
How so by math?
rather than trying to use like Andre Walker's curl chart, I went more like Weedod uses the system of straight, wavy, curly, coily.
Mm-hmm.
So that would just be like your respective 1, 2, 3, 4 types.
Yep.
And when it comes to hair coloring, there's not a big difference between coloring like 4A and 4C hair.
There's not.
You kind of that you get what you get.
Mhm.
So that's why I did it like that. And then there is a lock space as well.
I love that. I saw that. I love that that's on there.
So over 60% of the world has some sort of texture.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't quite figure out like there's no data on this as far as like curl types, what the percentages, how they break down.
Mhm.
But I tried to make sure that at least 60% or more of this dye represented the curly textures and
Come on,
less
girls.
was like the straight textures. Right?
Wow, wow, wow.
um, yeah, and then so a couple other things. Starting level isn't natural level; it's just starting level because that could mean you do have to interpret the dice a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if they've got previous color, their starting level may be that previous color. If they're a virgin hair, then their starting level is their virgin hair. There's no length dye. Usually,
Okay.
we can kind of imagine our guest's length based on porosity. So, on a scale of
Come
1 to
on,
5,
Holland.
I know, he's so teeny.
Oh, thank you.
Because if she's porous,
It's been
Oh,
with him
hairs
for a while.
a long
right?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time.
So
Or
if we're
it's
dealing with like porosities 2 through 5, they've got long hair.
Yeah.
Unless the dice are telling you a different story. Maybe it was like bleached and then tinted back.
So it's like an inch long and just dry as hell.
And then
Yeah, exactly. It's like been bleached 2 or 3
It was
times.
bleached and relaxed. And the cool thing about this too is you can also use this to set up scenarios. Let's say you're specifically talking about coloring type 4 hair. Well, then don't bother rolling this. We'll just set this on coily and roll all the other dice around it to randomize who's coming in. We already know we want to focus on coily hair.
Wait, hold on. Black dice here.
Yep.
White. Oh my gosh. It's
You got
coming
it.
together. Okay. Okay.
Yes. All right.
We're catching up.
I love it. You're talking specifically about all over color on coily hair. Then those are already set and we can randomize everything else. You don't have to roll every single die every time. You can just set it to the scenario you're trying to practice. And
See, this is why it can
I
be
love
so
that.
great for your class.
I love
And then you can make Holland
Buy this.
a bajillionaire. Hair services bajillionaire.
Can I buy a stock share
Can
now?
you make all of
Right?
that?
Before this kicks off.
Oh, you guys are awesome.
Oh, and there's
Thank
merch
you.
online. There's shoes. Do you have your white shoes or your dark shoes on today?
I got my black shoes on today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We love merch.
the merch. Oh wait,
Mhm.
I can't. I'm not that
Lift
flexible.
me up.
Wait, I'm dying. I'll throw some pictures down at the bottom.
There we go.
But yeah, welcome to Hairdice Show. I am back with my friends Raven and Jeffrey, and we're gonna roll some imaginary scenarios and talk about how we would calculate for this color, how we would formulate. Jeffrey's an educator for L'Oreal Professional.
Yeah,
Last year, the most requested educator in
I
the
was.
L'Oreal
I
Professional
was.
Network. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Raven is a color specialist, does a lot of awesome vivids and blondes too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, shall we roll?
Let's
Let's
go.
roll.
Shall we start with one service die,
Sure.
or
Yeah.
who wants to
Take us through the journey.
who wants to roll? You guys want to roll? It's fun to pick up the dice and throw them too.
I feel like I'm playing Jumanji and like
Wait.
I'm here for it. Like,
Yes.
suck me in the board. Let's go.
We will keep playing until we pull you back out, I promise.
I hope so. 3,800 years later.
Oh my
so I'm gonna
God.
roll a 5 or an 8.
Okay. I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll roll, I
Yeah,
guess.
you can grab the handful and toss them.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Let's see. Like this?
Yeah,
So
you
you're-
want to grow all three services or just one service?
How complex of a client do we want first off? I mean, we are
Well,
professionals.
me and my complexity, I was like, I'm gonna roll these and then pick one.
Ah,
ooh, I
like that. Let's do it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Like my personalized
beautiful.
favorite. Oh, and it's quiet.
So we have two all.
Wait,
over
they're
colors.
Oliver color.
Oh my God! Wait,
All three of
I gotta
them.
take.
All right
I gotta
then.
take a picture of that.
The
That
game,
is
the game has decided.
well,
How Jumanji is that?
3 for 3.
The hair dice has spoken.
That's. I just
Okay.
got chills.
All right, so we're doing all over color.
Yeah, we're doing Oliver color.
Then you can grab the other handful and find out.
Yeah,
Let's find out about our
Vegas.
guest.
Take the whole thing.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yes.
Just toss them all in
Ooh,
Ooh,
coily.
Coily. We got a coily texture.
Whoa.
That's so funny. That's what you had predicted.
We are medium density, medium diameter,
Okay, cool.
60% gray,
Oh shit.
and she is porous.
Okay, that's
I
understandable.
yeah,
yeah, it's
actually
coily.
this
Oh, but look at that. Our desired level is 1,
okay.
and the starting level is 3. Oh, but she did request. It looks like she has some previous vivid, which would explain
hair is so
why her hair is so damn porous.
Okay, well,
this almost made me think of one of my clients that I'm like, oh, I would love to pick y'all's brains over my issues I have with her.
Okay, wait. First thing before we formulate, she needs a name.
we'll just call her Maria.
Maria. I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so
Use the
starting
weird words.
level is 3 with 60% gray. Number 5, porosity. So she has probably shoulder blade to mid back length hair. Medium diameter, medium density, and she's super coily. Her desired level is a level 1, which is black, if you don't know. That's like the blackest of black.
There you go.
Desired tone is red violet.
And see, and so this is actually, I think, a really good illustration of especially when desired level, desired tone, are things that guests ask for. And sometimes the teaching moment in this is, can we give them what we ask for, or how do we let them know what kind of tone they're going to see with the level 1?
Yeah, because visually at a level 1, you don't see red violet.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so
well, yes.
Yeah.
But this is actually where my brain was, because have you ever tried to get a client really dark and really well covered, but with something like a red,
yeah,
and so that it looks black, but it also like glows with a redness.
yes, but I feel like you can't go any darker than like a level 3.
Yeah, I would agree
Yeah.
on that. Yes. So if she wanted to be red violet and a desired level 1, you'd have to have a talk with her, or maybe like not do an all over color.
But here's the okay, so this is where a formulation like can get spicy and dicey and super fun, because if you eliminate the idea of formulating for the great coverage
Mhm.
and just formulate for the desired tone, the gray hair and white hair will pick up lighter than the end formula because you don't have the end to base it and add that coverage. So you could give a darker finish with the illusion of the desired tone as a highlight.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, like a little bit of a glow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but then the formula would still have to be somewhere like at a level 3
Mhm.
because most color lines don't make honestly, they don't make any level 3s with any red reflex. It
I
would be
almost
like at a level
wonder
4.
if I really had a client
Yeah.
desiring this, if I wouldn't take a 1 and then mix it 50-50 with a red kicker.
Yeah, or even like a 2 or 3 with just a ton of red kicker.
Yeah, like almost half of the
Mhm.
color formulation, the
My
kicker.
only my only issue is I feel like anytime you add like a kicker and additive,
Mhm.
that's like the first thing to like leave.
Yeah, it can.
And
It
then
can depending on the
and
line.
so then it may look just like dull and murky
Yeah.
Mhm.
afterwards.
What if you did all over color twice? Like,
So, like something for, like, a reflect, like, as a
or
gloss?
doing like 2 level 4, like super dark level 4s on top of each other because color on color makes it
Yeah.
darker. So,
Or you do your permanent formula first,
mhm,
you formulate a little lighter,
mhm,
and then you gloss at the bowl with like something acidic or an alkaline demi-permanent to then be like your final like level 1. On
yeah,
top of that, so that you still have the richness kind of peering through from the interior,
I could see that.
but then
Yeah,
have that kind of dark silhouette.
that's kind of, it's almost like a shadow on top
Yeah,
because you did the 1 second instead of doing it first.
exactly.
Okay. Because I
I like
actually have a
that.
client almost exactly like this, but instead of like a level 1, I want to make her like a level 3. But
Mhm.
she has so much gray
Yeah,
that no matter how I formulate it, either it turns up not covering enough because with the kicker that I use, it can make things darker, but it can also kind of shear them out,
yep,
or it just comes out well covered but brown. So I've been basically coming to terms with the fact that I will have to do a 2 step
yeah,
all over for her to really
and
get
that's
her.
okay.
It is.
Because just because,
I
like,
know. It
also
just I want to do
knowing that
everything
she
in one
was
step.
previous vivid,
Mhm.
that just makes me think this is someone that likes to change her shit up way too much. And
Yeah.
she's, like,
True.
super porous, so I wouldn't wanna initially commit to, like, something super dark as my first process, but I could
Yeah,
do a gloss of some sort,
Hmm.
deeper,
it's a good
to just
idea.
give that
I like
top
that.
coat finish
Yeah.
versus it being
Y-
black.
Yeah, and it's in there for the
That's
rest
like
of
a
its
shimmer.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Man, I'm sorry, we can't go blonde, but you can get a haircut."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many color lines really? One, how many color lines truly make a level 1? And does your client actually know the difference between a level 1 and a level 3?
No,
Because they
No.
don't really. I mean, and
no.
Everybody from level 4 hair down thinks their hair is black.
yeah. So, and it's really about like, is it blue black or purple black or red black?
Yeah.
So, maybe we don't use one at all when we make our formula.
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't with the color lines I use because I don't have a one.
I have a
Oh, really?
1, but I couldn't dilute it and make it a reddish level
What?
1
Right?
without losing the depth.
Because like a level 1, like, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this about 1s, like, okay, a 9 is, like, basically twice as much pigment as a 10,
Yeah.
or it's, like, a certain percentage more,
Hmm.
and it's pretty, like, um, logarithmic, like, an 8 is the same amount darker than a 9 than a 9 is than 10, but, like, the difference between a 1 and a 2, a 1 is, like, 10 times darker. It has so much more pigment than even a
Mhm.
2. So, like,
Interesting.
diluting a 1 is nearly
That's
impossible.
kind of it. I'm glad you told me that because I've always kind of wondered about like the pigment load per level
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in school
I
or
know.
you see your neighbor
The
like
way you
mixing
said
things and you're
that.
like, what? Sorry. Because I do. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you mix things together, and I've watched my neighbors do stuff where I'm like, I just don't know if that will work,
Yeah,
and it does come off as kind of dark
very
Yeah.
dark.
or lighter than they want it to be.
Yeah. 'Cause see, in my color line, we have a 4-1-5,
Hmm.
which
Mhm.
is a level 4, dark brown,
Mhm.
blue, red, violet.
Okay.
It gives a nice, like, red violet reflect, but it makes the hair appear more brown than it does black.
Hmm.
Whoa, I'm having deja vu.
Woo!
So I like the idea of kind of the double process, like single process followed by like the darker gloss.
Hmm.
I think for me that would be like a contingency, but the first thing I'd probably do, knowing that she's got some fade out, is probably just talk her into some pops of that red violet. Like maybe give like a really tonal like level 4 with like a lot of pop of red violet in it. For hair's coily, um, maybe some like slices or like some freehand just like highlights of that lighter color,
Hmm.
um, and then the darker in between, just to make sure she's getting some of that reflect.
And even too, something I like to do on coily hair, especially with like a base touch up,
Mm-hmm.
is just taking some lightener, like clear and 30 volume, and like shifting the
Just like
ends,
Hmm.
the shoe shine kind
yeah,
of
exactly,
thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
and then doing like a gloss on top of it. So then you have kind of like those hints of the red violet coming through that she's looking for.
Okay, so you're kind of changing the color of the canvas
Yeah,
before you dye it back.
yeah.
I like that. That's nice. Yeah, and honestly, there's not even necessarily a reason to do a permanent color on this person.
Yeah,
You could
especially
just do your little I've heard some people call it the cloud technique.
Mm-hmm.
Do your little cloud technique, shampoo it, maybe tone it if you need to balance it, and then just do her darker with the demi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that a lot too.
I also try and talk a lot of my clients into gray blending versus
Mhm.
coverage.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just softer.
Yeah, and more flexible.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The color line that I have, it'll cover the demi will legit cover gray, like completely. It's bizarre, but just because the way you can intermix it, you can even do like half permanent, half demi, and get full gray coverage without any of the without pulling warm when she fades.
Oh,
And I really
sick.
dig that. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, I like the way that I use fades because it doesn't bring warmth, but it doesn't necessarily always cover gray either. It
Yeah.
blends it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is also great.
Although I did start pre-staining people like it's the 70s.
Come on, old school.
I know.
Throw it back.
And I can get full coverage with demi-permanent, and I still get that soft fade.
So,
I haven't pre-colored in so long.
so is that like when you color without developer?
Yes, right?
Yeah, you just put the developer on.
You just developer.
So
So I've heard
just-
both versions.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just go through and do their hairline with the developer for 10 minutes, like while I mix their color in the back, and then I come back and I put their color right on top.
Yep.
But I just do in that front hairline where they usually have more
Okay,
gray.
so I've never pre-colored with a developer, but use straight color.
Yeah.
So I think that the just developer is sometimes called pre-softening.
Right, because it
Yeah.
has the ammonia in it, so it opens the hair up and gets it ready to go. I will receive the color now. Bless
Well, the
me.
developer doesn't. Well, the developer doesn't have the ammonia. That's just the peroxide, but it still smells.
Yeah, so it swells it. Okay.
Um,
Wrong term.
but the color has the ammonia.
Mm-hmm.
And I've used them both. I feel like they both work, but
Yeah.
I'm like, but they are different mechanisms. It's weird.
I'm gonna have to go old school with it and try it.
Give it a
It's
shot.
developer. Yeah, because that one, I feel like it softens the hair and I don't get lift with it.
Yeah.
And see, I feel like you would for sure, because the alkalinity in the color is where it actually lifts. So if you pre-colored with color, then you have the chances of having that funky, like warm fade out when they come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Yes. Look,
Good
lab
stuff.
this.
scratching our brains.
I know. I'm like,
I love it because this makes you think of things that you're like. I think we're all to that level where you're like you don't remember what you don't know. You're like I don't know what I don't know, or I don't know what like I freak, or you don't know what you do know. That's what I was trying to say. Like there's so much information just floating around back there,
yeah.
and until something inspires it, then you're like, oh, I remember that. I haven't used that in a while.
Like
And I was really
remembering
hoping
that this client would, just with the amount of gray, we could probably just get that red tint. It would just be at their roots since their ends are all a thwack.
Yeah, and if she's wearing her hair coily most of the time, I agree with you guys. Like a 2, 3, even like a really tonal 4 might make her feel super dark.
Because you also have to consider that like coily hair naturally deflects light, so it's gonna look darker and flatter than what it already is. All of these factors.
We know things.
It's so
Trust us as hairstylists.
cool. I think we feel good about that.
Yeah,
All
I think she's
Maria,
happy.
I
Maria,
hope you find pleasure in this solution.
Thanks for playing with us today, Maria.
Yes.
Thanks. You.
We're going with that level 3 or 4. We know you trust us.
All right. highlights and gray coverage.
Love it. She's a
Starting
big
level
spender.
5. She's got coarse hair. She is 70% gray. She's had a relaxer.
Oh,
Oh Lord,
But
mercy, mercy.
sorry, ma'am. You need none of this.
um, but her texture's just wavy. So like it shouldn't. It wasn't a maybe. We'll figure out what kind of relaxer that
So
was.
she did it at home.
There you go.
A texturizer is what she bought at the
I
store.
think so.
Oh, how does that do?
With what she's asking for?
Yeah. So let's take a look. Well, we're gonna have to figure out. So she's got wavy, coarse, full hair.
Okay.
But she's got really good porosity. I'm gonna have to assume this is at her new growth. Um, and maybe it is not that long, especially since she just has really, really good porosity.
Yeah, maybe it's like a little cute like French bob.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be that, or like even a pixie.
Mm.
But she just wants
You're being summoned.
suspected spam. But she's like a 5 and just wants to be like a little bit lighter with some cool highlights.
I kind of love this. Cream bleach. That's what I say first. If we're gonna highlight relaxed hair that's coarse and wavy, cream
Mhm.
bleach all the way, baby. Low and slow, nothing higher than 20 volume. Because so she does want cool tones. So you gotta lift her well enough that you can put a nice toner on that. It'll stay kind of cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and gray coverage plus bleach. How do y'all feel about that? Like highlight then cover, cover then highlight then base bump, which I might try to suggest because it
I
will
think
soften that gray situation, make the grow out softer, still give her her blonde, still lift things and make it a little bit softer, but would be actually pretty quick for an appointment.
I'm gonna say her roots are wavy, and her porosity is 1, and she's got to be due for a haircut, and we're gonna probably cut most of that relaxer off.
Okay, so we
And
don't have
so in
to
that
worry too much
case,
about the relaxer.
I'm not gonna worry that much about the relaxer. And in that, we've talked about tone on tone highlights before,
Hmm.
but if they want a cool tone, you're gonna have to do the highlights
Separate.
and then the color in between the foils.
Yeah, and like how much gray coverage do we like? Are we just acknowledging gray, or is she like, I want it opaque like the day I was born?
I think because she wants to go lighter.
See, that's
Let
why
me
I feel
ask you
like a base
this:
bump.
Do you will
But
you
does she want to go lighter? Because her desired level is a 6. Is
her
that
starting
There's
her natural level's a 5?
five. Yeah. So she just wants a little oomph, which
So if you have a guest requesting gray coverage and going lighter, do you even reach for the gray coverage colors?
it can depend. Yes, because like I have a client who is like almost a natural level 2, and she's like 50-50 highlight or gray,
Yeah,
and she would be platinum if we could do it and her hair would let us because she has a very fine texture.
yeah.
So I cover that gray and I create like a caramel base and then I
Mhm.
highlight on it and give her blonde
Okay.
because when I do straight blonde, it's too much blonde root maintenance and she wants to come in every like
Yeah.
2 weeks. But if I just highlight, she feels like it's too dark and she doesn't feel as like pleased with the outcome.
She's like pretty well distributed gray.
Yeah. At least throughout the top. Of course, like the very nape of her neck could just not be colored and be fine, but
Yeah.
the whole top and front is pretty well balanced with the gray. So I do full color, and then I go back and highlight on top of the color, like at the
Nice.
roots. It's a journey.
I like that.
Um, we would have a really intense conversation about the gray coverage
Yeah.
with the highlights and the desired tone of being cool. Because the
Mhm.
thing is, it's like she comes in, say first time, highlight, gray coverage, it's perfect, cool end result. The
Yeah.
next time she comes back, we're gonna be at some point lifting through old color.
Yeah.
That's not gonna lift and get me a cool end result.
Yeah.
So then I would have to have the conversation with her like how important is the gray coverage?
Or you have
Yeah.
to like tone
Because
them every single
every time deeper
Yeah.
than maybe what she wants to be in order to have that cool finish.
Mhm.
Because if you're doing gray coverage, your highlight will never be as light as it could be without the permanent color living in the hair, in
Mhm.
my opinion. With it staying healthy.
I sometimes wonder that but like in this client, in my mind, in some ways, the color gives it a little bit of an oomph. I do it at the same time.
It gives.
But like, I sometimes wonder if I just highlighted her because her color is so dark. I would have to put her, I guess, under maybe more heat.
Because like doing some gray coverage or like an in between color
Mhm.
gives that pepper a little bit of life and oomph,
Yeah.
but it adds too much residual warmth. I feel like for everything to look cool
To
and
feel
cohesive.
overall cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally.
The client I'm thinking of, she definitely leaves cool and she always comes back like pretty warm.
Yeah.
But like, I
Yeah.
will say though, a company, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to like brand this video, but the
Oh, it's fine.
bleach,
You can talk about it.
Schwarzkopf
Yeah.
just came out with a toner you can add to your bleach.
Uh-huh.
And all of my highlights now, I can get a pretty cool lift on a lot of them. And this
Okay.
client included. I can really tell the difference when she comes back that the stuff I've used, the toner in the bleach, is
Uh-huh.
still like more on a champagne vibe than like her
Interesting.
ends, which do come in like buttercream.
Okay.
And that's just the raw lift before you tone. Comes out pretty cool.
Mhm. And then it stays that way. So, and she leaves like almost titanium because we go a little hard. Because I know she's gonna come back a little warm, and she doesn't mind it.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the middle of her process between her appointment and returning, she has
Yeah.
like perfect color, but she trusts me on that journey.
Yeah.
That might not always be everybody's cup of tea.
And how long is her hair?
She has shoulder length
Okay.
hair, and it's a fine texture too, so I can move through it quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it still takes me a 3-hour service with no haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like just when I do like
Because
a
this is the one
partial.
you're coloring and then
Hmm.
highlighting over it.
Yeah. So I start at her nape and I color all the way forward
Mhm.
and then I highlight on top of it. And after our conversation, I just put the highlights over the permanent color and it works just fine.
Did it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because I used to like wipe it off and then put the bleach
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
What
Nice.
was the advice, the tip to make you want to do that?
He and I
What is
talked
talk
about.
about it? Let's talk about
Oh,
it.
we were playing this game.
Yeah.
We were
Okay.
at Central Market. Actually, I was just showing it to her for the first time, and something had come up, and we were talking about low contrast highlights.
Okay.
Like if somebody wants like base color and then highlights that are like 3, maybe 4 levels lighter than the base color, then I'll literally do all over color and put the foil right over the top of the wet color,
Okay.
and it's almost like self toning. And it's usually not something you can get a cool result with, but that's really good. Like
Yeah.
after that toner
Well,
helps too.
yeah, it does.
That's cool.
And her root color is like, it's like an 8-8. It's a double pigmented for gray coverage because her gray is stubborn.
Yeah.
But I use like a green and a ash, and then I put like a green and an ash and a blue kicker in it.
Oh, it's a level 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. It's like 2 levels of contrast essentially.
Hmm.
So that makes sense why you can like lift it so cool.
Yeah. But her roots are like, her pepper is like a 4. She's like
Mm.
got that very like Greek kind of hair tone, where it's
Okay.
like a cool tone, but then you lift it and it just wants to stay warm forever.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. She's trouble. But like I have a client who I dye her hair black. She's naturally Hispanic, so it like complements her skin tone.
Yeah.
But she wants to do subtle highlights, and so now with this confidence, I can do her gloss and then just weave out these pieces for her ends, and then she gets these like level 3, 4 little like bits of color, and they're not cool tone, but they look really nice with her
Yeah.
hair color. And
Yeah.
that way, I don't have to like do all of her color and then go in and do her highlights. I can just kind of soften the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Glow.
Yeah, I really like it.
I used that technique a lot when I lived in Florida, because people like this sunny blonde. Like Matrix has a gray coverage that's a little bit not quite as coverage. It's called Dream Age,
Mhm.
and so it leaves things a
Oh
little
my
sparkly,
God, I
right?
used to
You know,
use
Dream
Dream
Age.
Age.
Oh,
Yeah.
nostalgic moment.
Oh my
Like-
goodness. Because L'Oreal
Yeah.
had a line within their Noah line called
Yeah.
Supreme.
Okay.
And it was like
It was like Dream
the
Age.
carbon copy of Dream Age. And I was
Yeah.
like, they discontinued it. I'm like, that's the
Oh.
most terrible thing.
It's a-
Aw.
Most
but I used it all the time in Florida, and then did tone on people, and so people were fine with that slightly warm, lighter base color with even lighter highlights, but not a ton of contrast.
Mhm.
But when I came to Texas, it's all about the contrast.
It
A lot of
is.
people, they want the platinum highlights with the level 2 base.
Okay,
And then
and
some
then
red
okay,
chunks.
and then okay, and then true fact,
Tell us
true
how you
fact.
really feel.
I
I
used
hate it here.
I used this technique on another one of my clients who I was doing a gloss on all of her hair, and we were doing all these really dark shades, and I did the technique, and she came out like platinum. And I guess it's because I used like 10 volume, and she was in a demi-permanent, so it's already kind of
Okay.
a lower volume. I don't know, but you know what? She loved it. Contrast, she was down for it.
Sweet.
And I
That's
liked it
amazing.
too, but I was not expecting it. So I was like, okay, if you don't like this, we can tone it. We can. She's like, no, I love it. So it worked out. Thank you,
That's so
Texas.
good.
But yeah, for some reason I think the bleach developer was stronger than the color developer.
Yeah.
And that's when I got classic lift out of my bleach, which I was not expecting.
You also have to think like too what type of technology is in your color and your lightener.
Yeah.
Is your color ammoniated, non-ammoniated? Is your lightener ammoniated, non-ammoniated?
And if they're
Because
both,
then if they're both of the same, you have a much cleaner and steadier lift.
okay.
But if you have like non-ammoniated base color and ammoniated lightener, that's where you get that weird like warm kind of like battling. Because
Interesting.
one's wanting to speed up, while the other one's kind of like
Just
slowly getting to the party.
And if I'm not mistaken, ammonia and MEA don't play well together.
At
And a
all.
lot of non-ammoniated colors and non-ammoniated bleaches use MEA.
Okay.
Unless you're using a demi with A and P. But most of them use MEA. But so if you have an ammonia and your what are the compounds in bleach? They're all ammonias basically.
Mhm.
Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes
Alkaline.
sense. I actually never thought about that. About the fact that you're probably asking the MEA and ammonia to play not they're not doing well because they don't like each other.
Because like thinking about it, like MEA is like this very determined yet like structured and contained kind of catalyst, as to where ammonia is just like,
Yeah.
Let's go.
Anything affects me. Heat me up, I go faster.
Yeah.
Put water on me, I slow down. Do this, I do that. Yeah, ammonia's very reactive.
And one's just like, no, girl, calm down. Take
Right?
it slow. We're
Like,
gonna get
right?
there.
Traffic
We're
is
gonna get there.
fine. Just listen to your podcast.
Okay. Roll the windows down. Look at the roses. Enjoy the ride.
I like your personifications of these
I
chemicals.
like that.
Yeah.
It's like when you have somebody like weaving in and out of traffic and they run the red light.
Ammonia.
Ammonia.
But then you
That's
ca-
ammonia.
And then here you
you
come
catch
and you're
up
like,
to 'em at the
"Oh,
next light,
Look
and
at
you're
you
like,
there.
See how your rushing got you nowhere.
Nowhere.
So we're thinking her gray coverage isn't that intense. We're gonna have a conversation about how much gray coverage like she really wants.
Mm-hmm.
What else I don't think we might have like went on a tangent.
We definitely
were
did.
talking about your your formulation with her.
Do you ever base bump?
No.
Oh, look at that face. All right,
I
give
do.
it to me. Give it to me. Tell me the story. Shame me, shun me. It's fine. I can handle it.
I've based. Can't even say it right.
The trauma. The trauma.
I base bumped for a couple people.
Okay.
But they've come to me and their previous stylist base bumped them. And I was like, this is the only reason why I'm base bumping. I think it's terrible. I think it looks terrible. I think
Do you use base bump colors for it, or do you like break your system to do a base bump?
So if I'm doing it, I have two different things that I'll use. Unfortunately, one of them is discontinued, so I'm like holding onto my bottle. But it's from L'Oreal. It's an oil based lightener, and it only shifts up to 2 levels maximum.
Okay.
And it works from the surface level to the cortex. So if you 5 minutes, you're gonna subtle shift. The longer you leave it on, the more underlying pigment you're gonna get exposed.
Yeah.
So I like using that because it's soft. But if I need something a bit more aggressive, then I normally do permanent color, like at a level 7, either like all the blues, all the greens, 30 volume, 8 minutes max. If I just have to.
By request only.
And then price goes up.
Okay, so see, I like a base bump as a price goes down moment because I had, depending on their natural level, like she's a natural level 5 and she only wants to get to a level 6. So she would be the darkest client I would base bump. I try not to base bump level 5s,
Mhm.
but if she's got like 70% gray, I'm
Mhm.
feeling a little more confident.
Yeah.
But Wella has they call it pastel, so it's their design for base bump. You can only use it with level 8, 9, and 10 permanent color. You mix it double developer with their pastel developer,
Yeah.
which I think is like a 15 volume. I actually have it in the back. I could go double check myself, but
So
yeah. So
that's like what, 6 point something percent?
yeah, so it's like real subtle. So I leave it on for 15 minutes on wet
No,
hair.
like 5 point something.
Yeah.
5,
Four,
6.
4.5 or something.
Somewhere in there.
I need a calculator for this.
I think
I trust y'all.
15 would be 4.5.
I have to do when it comes to math. I need a pencil and some paper.
That actually rings a bell. I think it is
Wait.
4.5% the pastel because I used to use Wella.
I
The
think it
4.5 is there, and that's also the max of their demi permanent. Because then they also have 2 different levels of demi permanent developer,
Mm-hmm.
which their like highest demi permanent is like a 13 volume.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Unless you're using their
Okay.
blonde toners, and then they can go up to 20 volume.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, that's a different. Those
These,
are their,
these
the
brands
permanent.
love to make developers.
They do,
mine,
don't
mine
they?
included. Mine included. We have like 35 developers.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My girl, calm down.
It's a lot of stock. But yeah, so I would highlight her in my chair, shampoo out her highlights, base bump her at the bowl 15 minutes. Mwah. Her gray is blended. Her level 5 is now level 6. And you can do, because you're not moving it too much. I would do, like you said, all the blues, all the greens, put a kicker in there. Do not heat that, because then you get underlying pigments exposed much more
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find that that base bump I do like, and I do have a couple clients that even like my blonde clients who come in for highlights, they'll come in, I'll do a base bump in an hour. It's almost like a toner service. I'll just base bump them and they leave, and then they'll come in the next time, I'll do a highlights and a base bump.
Okay. So technique in the sense of application.
Mhm.
Because this is also a major issue I have with base bumping, getting people's work that's been base bumped
Mhm.
or watching people base bump, is the application isn't consistent from time to time. So then you risk the chances of creating banding within the
I always do a
hair.
little comb with mine.
But like, okay, so what if she's a 6 weeker, but somehow she comes in 9 weeks for something, life happened, she had
Then
to
we might have to be
reschedule,
like,
but then you don't happen to swipe it all the way out.
well, then
There's,
that's my fault. That's not the color's fault.
but I mean, also
Yeah.
too, like the sense of a base, the sense of a base pump, it's like getting it on and getting it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like it can make the overall palette look inconsistent.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I think I use a base bump because I have that consistency with these people.
Yeah,
I think if someone came in
And what's their hair texture like?
uh like medium,
The people
like
that-
yeah,
they're,
soft to medium texture. I've never done super coarse texture, because usually the more coarser textures also get darker.
but as far as like
Mhm.
curl goes, are they like fairly straight to wavy?
Straight to wavy. Yeah, I think I have one like fairly curly haired, where like the curls kind of pop up through the color.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, for the most part, they're pretty smooth and lay down with the color.
Okay. Yeah, and that might work for this person. But as far as like base bumping and gray coverage, were you saying that when you base bump, does it kind of blend the gray as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not a full coverage, but it does do some.
It kind of like
It can
At
do
the
some.
washes it a little bit.
like a
Yeah,
sheerness.
yeah.
Okay.
It's hair. It's I like to tell them like it takes it from being a sparkly silver hair to like a sparkly gold hair or a sparkly caramel hair, but it's no longer that cool tone gray that you see.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I don't really make a practice of base bumping. I've base bumped as many people as I've used high lift color on.
I
Which is
used
just,
to-
like, not that much.
One
And
of
see,
the
I love high lift color.
Really?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I find there are
love
definitely
good
some
highlight
places for
color.
highlight color.
I love that it exists, but I just haven't found that many people that I'm like, this is the formula for you.
Oh man, now I feel like I have a bomb drop that is like not on this at all. How have you ever? Because we've all worked at multiple salons, so no hate here. Have you ever seen someone put bleach in their hair dye?
Oh yeah.
I have, yeah.
Okay, tell me your thoughts on this, because I have one client that I would do that on, and then I had one of my stylists that I worked with. She would use it on like almost everybody, and just be like, I don't have to leave them to sit as long. I can just leave them for 15 minutes and I get great coverage. And that was like her thing.
I mean, if you're crazy, sure, just say you're crazy.
I love you.
But like
We love you out there. You know who you are.
putting lightener or bleach in your color, you're only eating away at the color molecule.
Yeah, and kind of destroying what you came here to do.
Causing it to catalyze really fast.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's a little bit of the technology behind the 10-minute colors.
They got that alkalinity
Because
going on there.
they oxidize really fast, and they continue to get like darker if you don't get them off in time. But like, I find like my biggest thing is predictability. That was like burnt into me when I was learning color. Is like, if you can mix 2 tubes of color and get the result you want, it's way better than mixing 5 tubes of color.
Right.
You know, like I know lots of colorists like it just makes them feel good right here.
Yeah,
So
to have like a
mix
color formula
as
this
many
long.
colors as they can. But like, how are you going to do that next time? 1 gram.
You
of
write
this,
it
2 grams of
down.
that. But I mean, it's even consistency wise. I know.
Write it down.
Jeffrey's attacked.
What if like a little tiny chip if it gets on the side and you don't mix it in his mouth? You only put a chocolate chip of that one color. You gotta make sure it's
all
whisked.
you need.
Gotta whisk it in real good.
It's true. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes like they'll mix like 6 level 5s together, and I'm like, you know, you could have just done 1 tube.
That's
but
that's
like
a little excessive.
But it just makes them feel good.
Yeah.
And that's fine too. Honestly, I think that me comparing myself to those colorists, they're usually way more creative than I am. I like consistency, and I'm a creative person.
Yeah.
But just like I
You do have to write
I don't need that to fuel my creativity.
Because like when I
use a scale.
started.
Yes, use a scale. Oh God.
Oh my God, use a scale and measure in grams.
minimum.
Yes,
Grams are the way to
grams.
go.
Yes.
Screw your ounces.
I love you.
screw your
Yes,
squirts.
yes,
I'll do
yes.
these
Grams, grams,
metric
grams.
systems. Yes. Forget
Listen.
ounces.
And then you have that one
All
stylist who
good
does it,
things
and
are
you have to
weighed in
remember to
grams.
turn the scale to the right measurement after they use it.
Yeah. After
Otherwise
you put like
half of the thing in
half
there.
of the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have this like notebook somewhere because when I first started booth running like years ago,
Yeah.
broke, poor, starving hairdresser. Sometimes you just have like a little bit of these little tubes laying around. And so I started really learning a lot about formulation because I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna have like 3 parts of this or like 10 grams of this, 5 grams of this, but I only need 2 grams of this like level 5 blue green, but then like 3 grams of this like 9 violet gold just to make this like really customizable look. But then sometimes you don't have that little bit of tube next time. Right. Then you get to alter. Because I also like to think about hair color and every time I see a guest, even if I've seen you a million times, as a corrective color.
Kind of, yeah, actually.
Like maybe our regrowth stays the same, but mid lengths and ends, we may have to do something different depending on how it's faded, what tones we're holding on to, what tones we don't have.
Agreed.
And so it gets you outside of the box and like, oh, here's 6 in. Let's put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reliable.
Because it's 6 in.
Yeah. And that's actually, I think that's kind of a cool thing about, especially if you have a suite, the performative active mixing color. There's something exciting about mixing multiple tubes. It's like a value added thing. It's like when I come out of the back, when I'm doing a big lightning service, I have a rule where I only mix 1 scoop of lightener at a time.
Same.
Even where I'm using 9 scoops of lightener, and I know I'm gonna. So I'll literally bring out 9 bowls.
Yeah, I will. Yes.
And some measuring cups.
And just keep adding
with developer in them and mix as I go. And there's something way more exciting about me bringing 9 bowls out or mixing several tubes of color in front of them than just mixing 1 tube.
Yeah.
Or running back and forth. You're like, I got to remix. Nobody wants to see you do that 9 times.
I'm like,
oh my God. I gotta get my steps in.
I need a mental break, so I have to go remix.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go hide for a second, take a deep breath, have a glass of secret juice in the bag.
Oh no. I always use cleaning for that excuse.
Not think for a minute.
Yeah, that's
because you can just stir and just like.
Yeah, or sit down, or just sit down. Like, my knees. They do bend. They do bend.
They do.
I had a client. Actually, I had a client who was a level 1, coily, coarse, full hair, and she wanted to be like stop sign red. And so I would mix a level 7 vibrant red with 40 volume, and then put that pinch of bleach in there, and that's what I would get was stop sign red. And then I would gloss it just to make it like shiny and luscious. But I was able to lift, from a 1 to a 7 and get good tone. But because I was doing red, if she'd been
Yeah.
like, I want to be a level 7 ash brown, I'd been like, well, we have a problem.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the red, it worked out nicely.
Okay.
But I did have to like take an elder hairstylist advice. Step outside the box.
I know a lot of color lines have like ammonia boosters too. So like they have like Matrix had the extra blonding cream.
That shit was good.
I'm sure L'Oreal probably has something like that. I'm trying to think of what it's called in Chromastics. It's just called XL, and it's basically like a shot of ammonia. Like you can use it,
That's cool.
but it's like you can use it in your lightener to kind of mellow out your lightener until it kind of when it stops lifting. You can
Okay.
mix it with the permanent line to make any of them into a high lift color, or you can just use a little bit to get that little bit of ammonia boost. What's the one? What's the Aveda one called?
We don't have anything like that.
Yeah, neither does my
L'Oreal
line.
now.
But is that a non-ammonia based color too?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Oil
probably
delivery system.
that's probably why.
MEAs. We also have our classic was Majorelle. It's very ammoniated.
I've heard of Majorelle. I've never used it.
It's good.
Is it?
It's good, but there's not any like blonding accelerants.
I feel like it's old school, like Majorelle. Like I've never met a stylist like a United States based stylist under 60 that uses Majorelle.
Listen,
Here you go.
But
I don't use Majorelle.
you do.
Oh, you said it's great.
It is great.
It's great.
It is great.
It's
But we don't
great.
It's, we don't have to leave that in.
So it's really great. It's phenomenal. I educate on it. I use it as a corrective tool, but I like to provide, aside from lighteners, all of my guests like an ammoniated free experience. So I use a Node because it is not ammoniated.
Okay.
Personal choice.
Yeah.
Not that it's like one or the other is better, but I just prefer its finish.
Yeah.
Its technology.
I feel like Matrix's new coil color is basically just a Matrix version of it.
It is.
Okay.
It's good stuff though.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff. Because I have a couple of friends that work on the Matrix team, and we've done shows together.
Nice.
And like, they trade off like what color lines we use.
Yeah.
Oh, this is familiar. I love it.
I have some friends that just did. They're like, I don't know how Matrix is structured, but they kind of have like the regional educators. And one of them, I used to work with both of them. One of them's like regional for Dallas now, and one of them's regional for Houston.
Okay.
Eric, what's Eric's last name? And Rachel Cordasco.
I think I've met Rachel before. I've probably met Eric before.
They were both working the booth at Premiere San Antonio. I don't know if you went to Premiere San Antonio. You were probably teaching somewhere else.
I was either teaching or on vacation.
I hope you were on vacation.
I was on vacation. It was the weekend after BTC, wasn't it?
It was pretty close to BTC. I feel like it was a couple weeks after BTC. It might have been
Yeah, I think BTC was
it was
like
either
the
before
end
or
of
it was
October,
after.
and Premiere was the beginning of October. I think they were like bookends on either end of the month.
I was
teaching. They were pretty close.
Yeah, I was teaching. Yeah, I was teaching.
All right.
Cool. So, what did we decide?
Well, we've got a couple options.
Yeah. Couple options. Decide how important gray coverage is.
Yep.
And if it's more important to be, those are kind of my main questions. Is it more important to be light or more important to have all the gray covered?
Right.
If the importance is based on is light, then I might not even do a permanent color. I might do a gray blending and some highlights and hope that we're going to trim off all the remaining relaxer.
Yeah.
She does have pretty heavy density and coarse hair, and with the assumption that her hair is short, maybe kind of tough to place some highlights that not make it look stripy. But we can figure that out. That's not a big deal.
Diagonal on one side, horizontal on the other, and skipping the back, you mean?
Exactly. I mean, God, don't let my work end up on Reddit like that.
Oh no. You won't leave you don't let people leave like that. You're like, if there's something that strongly going on. You're like, hey, we're gonna fix this now, or like I'm seeing you
Yeah.
tomorrow morning. So
Well, I was thinking we should change this a little bit. Like, when are you free again?
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
pleased with this as much as I thought I would be, and so I'm gonna need you to come in here.
You know, that happens sometimes.
Mhm.
That happened to me right before Christmas.
Yeah.
An old client that I fired, her and her husband.
Mhm.
You know who you are. But they came back around, and I love them. I love them
Yeah.
as people, but
Yeah.
they weren't good clients for a while. But now they came back, and they were getting ready for a trip. And she was like, I need extensions. I need a color. This is what I want. I was like, okay, cool, great. Did everything. Her blonde, she's like a natural level 3.
Okay, yeah.
And we wanted a cool finish.
Okay.
I was lifting through old color, permanent color that someone put
Mhm.
on. And
Mhm.
she was like, still very warm. I was like, okay, when are you leaving for your trip? All right, I'll see you Saturday. We
Mhm.
got to do this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
Sometimes it just takes some extra time.
Yeah.
Me or like a finish. I remember distinctly doing like a really clear violet toner on somebody and getting them like really bright blonde,
Mm-hmm.
and it just didn't look right with their skin tone. And I did like a sorry, that's the air
Oh,
freshener.
yeah.
I did like a copper with like really light, like copper and blue. So it was like kind of iridescent
Uh-huh.
and like level 9, and it was so pretty with her skin tone and her green eyes and like, but she was still super bright, super blonde, but it just wasn't so cool against her
Yeah.
like warmer skin tone.
Yeah.
Give her some life.
But I was like, you have to come in and fix this. I know you can't tell the difference right now, and you're pleased with your blonde, but this is not acceptable. Tomorrow, I will be pleased with your blonde, and then we were done.
Yeah.
That smells really good.
Oh, I thank you.
What is that?
It is oud wood.
Ooh, yeah.
That's nice.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Right. It's the signature scent of the salon.
Dropped in on me real
Yes.
quick.
I like it. Actually, I feel like that oud, it's that it's an older scent. I feel like it goes with like the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
does.
Kind of musty, misty, kind of
It's
planty.
like, Jeffrey, sit upright.
I know. I'm like,
You're on cameras.
No.
It gave me chills.
That's it.
Wow.
Oh.
Thank-
Little stimuli in the air.
Right? It's inspirational scent.
We love it. We love it.
I love it.
All right.
Well, should we go for 3 dice?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. First off, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this backwards.
Okay.
We're gonna see who she
Oh.
Who is she?
Oh, we didn't name our second
Oh.
client
is.
either.
We didn't name her.
She
I forgot.
was talking Nancy.
Nancy.
There we go, Nancy.
I like it.
Nancy,
I
we
like
appreciate
Nancy.
you. Okay, so her density is light.
Oh, perfect.
Her starting level is a 4. I'm gonna say that's a 4. We'll start there.
Yep.
Percentage of gray is 20%.
Nice.
Cute, easy breezy.
Oh man, previous chemicals, henna.
Oh.
Great conversation topic.
Let's
Diameter
have
of
color
hair,
brushes. Leaves
fine.
forte.
Desired level 7. So she's a 4. She wants to be a 7.
And she had henna.
Yeah, she had henna. She has a porosity of 3 to 5, and her texture is straight. And her old tone, I mean, that makes sense. Desired tone, red violet.
Okay.
And here are the clippers.
And what does she want? She wants low lights, gray coverage. We can't have this one and that one, so we're gonna roll this one more time.
And some vivid.
And some vivid.
Oh, that means you get to roll the d20.
Ooh, and that vivid streak is gonna be
Oh.
dark blue, pastel pink, a little neon green, a little sky blue, and a soft purple as well.
That's the oil slick.
Oil slick. So she wants her gray covered at the top. She wants low lights.
She's a hot
While
mess.
she also wants her hair a lighter level. And then she wants
Okay.
like a peekaboo vivid section. This is, oh man, who is this? This is like, this is is she like
every
a
color's
Kaylin?
worst nightmare.
She's a Taylor.
She's a Taylor.
She's a Taylor. Yes. I was like, Kaylee, Mackenzie. No, Taylor. There you go.
Taylor.
From our clients here tolerating us. All right, Taylor.
Okay.
So her gray coverage, and let's say she's like super neurotic about her gray coverage. She wants full gray coverage.
Even though she's only 20%.
Because she's only 20.
Yeah.
So she's like 28 to 32.
Yes, she's very, very sensitive
she likes
about
the
her
two
gray.
grays that she has.
Yeah,
and
she's
like,
very,
wants
very
full
anxious
coverage
about
color.
them.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
tells
that's a Taylor for sure.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
She tells her partner that she's just coming in for a haircut every time she gets her color done. She doesn't want him to know.
Oh my god.
He's like, you get your haircut a lot.
This one is like a really good example for me of redirecting a client.
Yeah, because this is
To
a
another
lot going
salon.
on. Yeah, we would have to, because she wants to be lighter, but she also wants low lights and she wants a peekaboo vivid, while she also wants her gray coverage. This
And
is
she
like,
had henna.
and she had henna,
So like
and she wants this in one appointment.
immediately, no, let's just nix the vivid.
Yeah, because you had henna, unless you.
If
So,
you
what
like
are your thoughts on henna? Because I've only heard the terrible rumors, and I've tried to like keep all my clients away from it. Anyone who's ever had henna and came into me wanted me to just basically replicate that color. So
Yeah.
I've never had to like fight with henna. How about y'all?
I never had to fight with it. Like basically, I used to live in an area of Jacksonville that had a lot of like Southeast Asian clientele, and so we get people coming in with henna, and they decided they wanted to go away from henna and they wanted like a red violet tone in their hair. Fine, I'll color over henna any day of the week. It's not. I would do a strand test to make sure that their hair wasn't going to start smoking or something.
Hmm.
But I've honestly never tried to bleach henna out.
Yeah, that's my fear.
I haven't had an issue with it.
I've had a run in where I've had to
Okay.
do some lightening and shifting.
Okay.
There's so many like metallic salts and all these things in henna that you're just gonna like burn the hair before it gets anywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
That's my fear.
We have a lot of new technology now to like combat that, but it's not easy still. Just
Yeah.
because I feel like anytime you lighten henna, it just drives it deeper into the hair.
It makes it like brighter.
You know what I like to
brighter
compare it
and
to?
then deeper.
It's like if the henna, the shade of the henna doesn't move, but I tell my clients, like, imagine your hair is a piece of paper. A manila piece of paper and red, you get like a red brown. But like a white piece of paper and red, that red looks brighter, even if it's the same red.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Because
it's
you're
like
removing like
you're
all
removing the
underlying
pigment from below it,
the
but it's
natural
not
stuff.
going anywhere.
Exactly.
Taking all the neutral away.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd have to tell her, if you want us to give you a peekaboo of Vivids, one, we have to do a strand test. Two, we are at the mercy of whatever happens. So your oil slick and your blues and your greens, they might not be a thing. Do you want your peekaboo vivid piece after all? If it can't be oil slick, do you want it? So that's our conversation with her.
Oh, I know what I would do.
What would you do?
I would immediately talk to her about tape and extensions.
Oh,
She's got fine hair. She's got light density. She's got a porosity of 3 to 5, which means she has probably some pretty long,
hair.
light density fine hair.
And it's straight.
And she could and it's straight. So any generic like tape and extension is going to be made from someone with straight hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll pop that oil slick vivid in there, add some density to her hair. And that's super easy. That kind of takes care of our low light vivid situation.
I do. I like that.
Oh, but where is our henna starting at?
That's a good question.
Is it dark brown? Is it red? Is it?
Yeah. Is it the like more orange henna that
Right.
sometimes happens?
Let's say she has some orangey pieces on her 20% gray. Because that's the only place it really showed up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she's got a natural level 4.
And like 2 inches of new growth.
Because she's been doing it for years, and so the ends are like black.
Yeah.
The ends are like
Yeah.
deeper.
It's slowly all the
It's like
all
a
the,
reverse ombre.
yeah, all the dimension fades away.
Oh, I see that all the time.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I tell people that's how you can tell if someone else does their own color.
Yeah. It's like hot roots and mid shaft and like
Yeah.
black ends.
You said it in the other recording. You were like, she dyes her hair at home and you can see the twinkling coming through all the way down to her mid shaft. I was like, yes.
It's so true.
And I guess I would just use permanent color on her. She's a level 4, so maybe like 30 volume with like a kicker if she wants to be red violet and it's like a rich color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would actually talk her out of going lighter all over. Just because of the henna. If she has like 2 inches of new growth and
the rest is
9
dark.
inches of previous henna.
Yeah.
Well, and then she says she wants low lights. So are we like doing your roots with something that lifts them to a 7?
I would eliminate the low lights.
And then doing low lights like you would do highlights. and bringing that dark color up, so you get a little blending of that dark
Mhm.
color into the light color, and so you could basically start transitioning
Like a
her
gray
to
reduction.
that 7.
I think in this I would interpret the low lights as being the vivid, that oil slick that she was looking for.
Oh,
So like
I
peekaboo,
thought
like
she
you were saying.
also wanted low lights.
I think that's just too much. That's just a hard no. So in that case, that's what I'm
Well,
like,
but if she had
yeah,
henna and it was dark on the ends and she wanted to be light at the roots, and she really does want to transition to something that's like not so dark,
Hmm.
yeah,
I might be like, well, we basically have to put a light color on and then bring this dark that's down here up in a way that like disperses it. I might do some
yeah.
slices and some
No,
weaving.
I
And
like
then
that.
she keeps coming in and we
Yeah,
keep having to do less low lights so that
Yeah.
eventually it's like a transition
yeah.
and it looks a little more intentional. It would be a reverse ombre, but an intentional one.
You treat it the exact same way as somebody growing out their gray, um, but
Yeah.
trying to break up that line of demarcation.
Yes. Just trying to break up that line exactly.
Yeah.
Because like, and I would have a conversation. I have a couple guests like this.
Mhm.
Post shelter in place. Um,
Yes.
a lot of the times people don't realize that something's wrong until you point it out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if they're
True.
okay with it looking sparkly into this dark, then my approach would be just blending. I would completely eliminate gray coverage. You have 20%, girl, calm down. I would
Yeah, yeah.
eliminate gray
Yep.
coverage. I would formulate maybe to a level 6, not a 7. And
Yep.
then
Okay.
I would do some type of shifting with either like an alkaline based dim-eye, mid lengths and ends, or like a lightener for just a quick
Mhm.
minute to get a little bit of shift, open up the cuticle,
Mhm.
and allow some of that residual henna pigment to fall out over time.
Yeah.
And
And
be
she's
like,
cool
this
with
is
red
just gonna
violet.
be,
Yeah.
and be like, this is just gonna be a gradual thing
Yeah.
that we're gonna have to get the canvas great first, and then we can revisit the vivid oil slick low light
Situation.
Yeah.
with this red violety
Great coverage.
hot mess we got going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I like
Because
that.
I don't think the porosity with the henna could stand like a full processing time of like anything. It would need to be
Yes.
something quick, just like on and off on the ends.
Hmm.
Just like give that dark, dull color build up some life.
And I don't know how this
Yeah.
came up in the last time I played too, but have you used Malibu
I was just thinking about CPR.
CPR? Used CPR before?
I
Give your color some life.
I used to, I don't anymore because we have a beautiful product that works really
That's the
nice
same.
without the processing time. Might I add,
Oh, really?
Hmm.
What is it? What is it?
metal detox.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
saw that on your shelves.
Yeah,
I've heard of Metal Detox,
yeah.
and I've
So
heard
it
of
goes
using Metal
in.
Detox for henna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes in, it has a technology.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
Metal
Market to
detox.
us.
Metal detox. Inserts. It has
Put
a
one in there.
technology called glycoamine.
Okay.
That's like a really small particle. It travels all the way to the cortex. It encapsulates any type of mineral or metal built up in the hair and makes it non-reactive during the color lightening
So it's
services.
not
Oh,
like a
it's
chelator. It's not for removing it. It's about isolating
making it
it.
It
non-reactive.
isolates so that you don't have like the explosion, the heating, the over
Oh,
processing
okay.
of the hair.
The
Yeah.
smoking.
And so you get a much better consistent lift through henna, through like black box color, all these
Yeah.
different things without the damage.
So is it like a leave it? Like you basically put it in the hair and just leave it
So
in?
yeah, put it on dry,
Hmm.
and then mix up your color, apply right on top of it, and it's like already working.
That's
Okay. I've
cool.
never used
Yeah.
that before.
That is very cool.
And then you process your color lightener,
Yeah.
rinse, shampoo with the Metal Detox shampoo because it has a magnetic technology that removes all of the minerals out of the hair once the cuticle is open.
Okay.
That
And
is
then
very cool.
yeah, and then you gloss after you shampoo, and you're basically glossing on a fully balanced, even porosified canvas.
So yeah,
Yes,
I was gonna
no
say, I
metal.
imagine it's like a
That's a nice
porosified.
word.
It's
Porosified.
unporosified.
Unporosified.
Yeah, equalized.
Yeah,
It's closed and smoothed and ready to receive.
Word.
yeah, it's good stuff.
That
That's
is
cool.
actually really cool.
Try that out sometime. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely heard about that. I've heard it come up in
Hmm.
context of henna before.
Uh,
I've never used it.
not the same technology, obviously, because this is very cool. But Illumina by Wella kind of has
Mhm.
that. They have like a. It goes in and encapsulates the copper so that your color doesn't react with the copper, and it keeps things really, really cool tone. If I have anybody that I want to fill, or like I've been doing blonding, and they want to go back to their natural color, they have that kind of an odd collection of shades that really emulates natural hair colors.
Okay.
And I've been able to essentially erase the blonding. Like I've never found such true looking natural colors, and they're very shiny and reflective. They're not super dense and opaque, but they kind of have a like metal encapsulating technology, but it's for the copper that reacts. And that's like why hair.
That's through in all the
That's
Illumina
yeah.
color.
Hmm.
I used to teach Illumina color. I didn't know
I'm here. Don't mind me. But yeah, so I do like if I have someone. So talking about gray coverage, if I have somebody who wants to look really natural in their gray coverage, or they're a real blonde, like a real
Mhm.
blonde, like some that term dishwater blonde. I
Mhm.
am that color. So when I would bleach my hair and then want to go back to that, I would use the Illuminas. They have like 1.9s, which are very gray, or like
Mhm.
they have a 6.1 that's almost purple. But when
Okay.
you put it on the hair, it just is like a really cool tone, like level 6 kind of blonde.
A 6 of 1 isn't
Mm.
one matte?
One is
No,
gray,
one is 2 is matte.
2 is matte. Yeah,
Okay, forget.
What's the difference? Is matte? Is it green
green.
base?
Hmm.
The Schwarzkopf, they're matte. They have like two different ones. They have like a blue gray and then like a gray green. 1 and 2.
Interesting. They just came out with those toners, and they have a violet, an ash, and a matte. So I'm curious what the matte is now, because I assumed it was green,
Mm,
but I could be wrong.
I think it is like I think it's like a blue green.
I
It
like
probably
that.
is it probably based on level.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I figure the matte is for the darker lifting. That's what I did for my.
Yeah.
I had a girl with black hair that I gave green tips to, and I used the matte. And
Oh, that's hot.
yeah, and it actually
That's
did
nice.
really tone out a lot of the warmth. I just did like a red contoner on her ends before I put the green on, just to kind of seal things in.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Nice.
Saw someone with like neon green bangs the other day. She's super adorable. On these freckles and just like dark brown hair and these green bangs.
Yes.
It was really cool.
I'm
Live your
waiting for
best
someone to
life.
let me give them Billie Eilish roots. So bad.
Oh, I know, right?
You know what? What is that? Bleaching them or darkening them? Just making them exact opposite of what the rest of the head is?
Yeah, but I would want to bleach.
They're like vivid.
You know, we could talk about this because I just don't want to do my own hair color anymore. I'm kind of over it, and I'm growing it out,
Okay.
so it's got to be something interesting.
That's nice. So we got the metal detox, followed by maybe like a kind of a soap cap. Are you thinking?
Yeah,
Possibly.
Possibly.
and then clip-in extensions,
I'm like, yeah, tape in extension.
tape-in extensions.
I'm like just gonna use a
Leave 'em
non-gray
there.
coverage, permanent color to maybe bring her up a couple levels, and then tuck her into some tape ins.
Yeah.
Forget about all the rest.
Hmm.
And you had
I was gonna do like a lifting color on her roots if she really wants to be a lighter level, and then
Mm.
do a little low light blending to deal with them darker
bring
ends.
the. I love that. That I wouldn't even thought of that as far as like bringing the dark up and treating it like a gray reduction.
Yeah.
That's a
really
good
cool.
take.
That way we can get lighter, but we also don't look like we got the hot root.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The unintentional hot root. You're gonna give yourself hot roots. You gotta make it look like it's on purpose.
Yes.
It's gotta be good.
Yes.
It's gotta
Billie
be-
Eilish.
Yeah,
Or like Lulu Dallas. She has that orange hair, but her roots are
Mm.
bleached and not
yeah.
colored. She has
Yeah.
white roots in that whole movie.
The white.
Yeah. They're
Wait, are
white.
they really?
They're white platinum roots, and then the rest of her hair is orange.
How
I
have
feel
I
like I didn't
never?
never hit
Hold
you.
on.
Look it
How have I
up.
never?
Because then I feel like that's
That's my spirit animal.
and I feel like when I read about it, she had bleached her roots and come in and been like, I'll be dyeing this later, and they were like, don't. We want this to be a part of your character. Please don't make me eat my words. Yeah, I wasn't crazy. I remember this.
Yeah. What? I've never. Get a better one. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she got weird alien roots. She was before Billie Eilish.
And the darkest ends.
Yeah. Oh well, that's also that scene after she's crawled through a.
Crawled through like the sewer or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
here
think
they're
her
not
ends
so
are.
dark. There.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just have them '90s eyebrows. Oh lord.
That hair is everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
This
goodness.
scam
Scam
likely
likely.
trying to call me so much.
But yeah, so
Should we
she
answer?
has the permanent hot root, the OG permanent hot root, or purposeful. I'm sorry, hot root.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's incredible.
I love that. That's a good example. It's sometimes in order to get those bright, vivid shades, even at copper, you have to bleach first.
Yeah,
Oh
You
yeah.
know?
No, it's true.
yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, I did somebody recently who was of Native American descent, so their hair texture was pretty straight but thick strand.
Mhm.
And they were like a little 4. They wanted to be like a super bright orange,
Yeah.
but they had also gone through a cancer treatment, so they had like coils coming out now, right? So some of the hair was straight, but
Mm.
this stuff on top that was longer was really
Oh
curly.
wow. Yeah.
So I did a level 4 copper with a ton of copper kicker, and then I did a shampoo cap real quick at the end, and it like made it all neon because all the colors I put into it were coppers and coppers with no naturals.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I just basically opened it up and brightened it up, and she left with basically Lulu Dallas hair.
I love it.
It was a great
That's cool.
solution. I felt like
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah. I love
Right?
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, couldn't get that color if we hadn't put bleach on it. Even if it wasn't like bleaching first and then doing color,
Mhm.
there was no way to do it without putting some kind of bleach on it.
Yeah. I love it.
That's cool.
I would be redhead. It's just a lot of maintenance. And I
Yeah.
don't got time for that.
It's so
feel
much
But I'm
maintenance.
like gingery curly hair. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like that,
Yeah.
like soft, like copper red gold. Yeah, with some copper in with your
Yes.
eyes. Oh, it's so
Yes.
great.
You want to do one more?
Let's go for it.
Okay,
One more. You want to roll one more? Who wants to roll?
I'll take a handful.
Okay.
Group roll. That way we can blame each other.
I'll roll. I'll hold on to these. And I'll roll. All right.
Jumanji.
Ah.
Jumanji moment. Low light.
Vivid.
Vivid. Ooh, you get to roll the
Oh, okay.
dice again. And
Ooh, did I hit the gray coverage one?
oh no, it does okay. Black and red.
Oh, that's easy.
That's
That's
cool.
a good one. Depending on which direction.
Oh, they got
Oh,
logs.
this is.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
yes.
Let's
Yes.
go.
I love
Let's
it.
go.
Of course, the Brassi's 5. It kind of almost doesn't matter.
Desired
Yeah.
level 4.
Okay.
We love to see it. Desired tone, red violet, spot on with the vivid.
So we had some
Come on.
previous bleach.
Fine diameter,
Density
as
full.
most
Full
hair with
density.
locks is.
Yeah.
Full density because
Oh,
you
I
ain't
love
losing
this
any of
one.
that.
I gotta take a
Wow,
picture
that's
of
like
it, too, so we can put that on
weirdly
the screen.
accurate.
I
Like, this is
love that.
definitely a person.
Okay. Listen, I love color and locks.
Tell
Me
us all
too.
This
about it.
is like right up my alley. Starting level 7, that's typically not likely, but we'll go with it.
Only because they had bleach previously.
Oh, makes sense now.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, it wants to be a 4, but also wants to have red to black or black to red somewhere in there. The whole head or part of the head. It's up to
Okay, so here's the thing. Base color is level 4. Let's bring it back down.
Yep.
And then we're melting into, I'm going to say like a 5, or I'm going to say like a level 5. We'll do level 5.
Mhm.
Actually, no, let's do 6. We want to keep it a little bit more on the vivid side.
right. Give us
Yep.
So
more
we'll do a level
contrast.
6 red violet.
Yep.
Because we're going on previously lightened hair, so it needs to be a little richer so that it have the depth that we're looking for. And then I would go through and just color block. I would move completely intuitively on where I'm placing the red pieces, leaving
Ooh.
some out and creating just a really nice like color blocking moment throughout the entire locks.
Ooh, I
Oh my
like that. So
gosh.
rather than like an ombre sort of effect on all the locks, you're
Yeah.
thinking,
It's like some are red
we'll put
and
in
some
some
are black.
pops
Yeah.
of that red.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that a
Which
lot.
I have something similar. I have a friend. It's on my Instagram. If you want to go check it out. My friend that I did locks. Similar here. Although going back to our base spray,
Hey!
we shifted their natural level like 4 or 5 to a 7 using my like 711 30 volume. The only base break formula I will use.
See,
for
it does have purpose.
for the overall, and then use the lightener in the place of what I would do the red, and like
Yeah.
you just create a very unique like color experience for the guests. And I feel like with locks you have to be extremely creative
Mhm.
to like give them life when it comes to color. You can't just be like this one color or
Yeah.
this at the top at the
Yeah.
bottom, just because it needs emotion, because locks are emotional. The experience of having locks is
Mhm.
emotional. So I feel like the color should play into that.
Oh, I like this.
I love that you described placing them intuitively because I feel like that's
Mhm.
the only, like that's the best description for like replacing hair color because locks are intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really like you can have even the most like symmetrical cultivated locks. There's still like an intuitiveness about them.
Yeah,
You
because
just
then
have
you
to
have
let the hair
the
do its
shaping of the
thing.
lock itself. And
Yeah.
Yeah, like how it sits by the person. Do they sit back? Do they sit forwards? Are we
Yeah.
framing their face? Are we creating shadow or framing around like the neck? Are we
Mhm.
creating length?
Listen, I will color locks all day long.
So I've
All
never
day long.
colored locks. And my question was going to be, when coloring, do you use more product or do you have a different way of rinsing them or do you let the color sit on longer? Like if someone was to walk into my chair today with locks, what would you be like, Raven? Here's the pointers that you are not thinking of because the hair's more dense and there's more hair being involved.
Yeah, so um if you're thinking of you always need more product.
Mhm.
More product for sure. If we're lightening,
Mhm.
you're going to use an excessive amount of product simply because with the lock and lightener and going lighter than their natural color, you have to squeeze and work
You
the
like, get
product
in
Literally
there.
get all the way
into
through
the
it.
lock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll have spotting
Yeah.
and
No one wants
uneven
leopards.
lift. Um, and then rinsing is I put a stopper in the
Mm-hmm.
bowl and I put the hair in, and just how I squeeze the color in, I'm gonna squeeze the color out. So
Okay.
like you
Yeah.
fill up the bowl with water and then you like soak them and detox them
Kind of like a
that
sponge.
way.
Like I just
Yeah.
rinse
Remove the
the
water.
hell out of it and
Yeah.
do each like literally work every lock the same way I did when I colored it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
letting it kind
do
of
Having a
soak.
stopper.
the same
Yeah.
way
Yeah,
you
I
would
like
like
it.
make a lock. You have to like
Yeah.
roll the color in, like really coat it, squeeze it,
Mm-hmm.
so it gets all the way to the center.
I can feel it
Um,
as you're describing this to
right,
me.
I love
right. As it gets all the way to the center to have that consistency and then removing it the same way. But you also have to think of when you're formulating and using lightener, using color,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be methodical in your sense of like what developer you're using because you have to imagine depending on the lock, some of that hair is like 5, 10, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's naturally going to be even more porous than everything else. So it's going to lift quicker, but it's also going to like break down quicker.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the hairs on the inside of the locks are usually the older hairs.
Yeah,
And they're also the structural integrity of the lock, right? If
exactly.
they break,
Yeah.
then the rest breaks, right?
Exactly.
So,
So
in fact, do you guys ever do? So I'm imagining a lot of times when I do really dense colors, or like I have a couple clients that I book my whole day with, and I'll do whatever service, whether it's bleaching or coloring, but I'll do the back of their head first, move to the front of their head, and then actually rinse off the back of their head
yeah,
while the front is sitting, just for like porosity and the health of the hair, the integrity of the hair. So I'd probably have to do that with locks, is like time everything so things aren't sitting there forever.
for sure. Because you
Mhm.
also have to, the hair being more porous, if the color sits on longer, it's just going to absorb that and look way
Really
deeper
dark. Yeah.
Mhm.
than what it's supposed to.
I love this.
I've
I feel
actually-
confident now.
I've done this before on somebody. It was and we used Matrix So Red.
Oh, I love stuff.
Yes.
Right? Because it'll lift and tone at the same time.
I feel
And so
like
I didn't
could
have to
use
lighten her at all. Like I used a lot of So Red though.
that.
We just like soaked it up and we just did some basically like peekaboos throughout here. Just left the front row colored. I think we did like a 4. And then just kind of did some peekaboos here at the temples she didn't want to touch.
Yeah.
And under the dryer for like 10 minutes. And the red was just so bright.
Love that.
Really nice.
Locks. So
I
fun.
don't see enough
So
locks
fun.
in Texas.
Because they're
I
so
feel
hot.
Yeah, but I see lots of wigs. I see lots of extensions.
That's true.
I just feel
It's
like
just-
I
Cause
feel like too culturally it just depends. Because
yeah.
like
Yeah.
locks in Florida, huge.
That's what
Huge.
the only reason I know how to do them.
But it's like I feel like it's like the environmental culture
Mhm.
depending on like where you are.
Yeah,
That
I'm
makes
seeing
sense.
more and more. Actually, I feel like I see more locks now in Austin than I have. Like I saw more locks last year in Austin than I have in all my previous years.
And we also like since shelter in place,
Mhm.
post pandemic, although we're still kind of in a pandemic,
Yeah,
Austin has seen like a major trajectory in like people of color moving here.
Yeah.
So I also feel like that plays a part into like finally seeing locks and
More variation.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
of
No,
beautiful
absolutely.
hair.
I don't want to keep y'all. We did 4 rounds. I think that last one. I'm so glad we rolled locks.
I am
So
too.
good.
It led into a very good conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for coming, for being so down to like play an absolutely nerdy game.
Ah,
It's like the
I
best type
love
of
it.
nerdy game.
it was.
Thank you so much.
I learned so much
It's
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I
Mhm.
love bouncing ideas out of other people, learning like what tools you guys have to work with.
Yeah, and that
It's so
metal
good.
detox. I'm gonna need
Hey,
some of that.
I can get y'all some.
I want some.
I have some I can gift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
It's the
I love that.
pre-treatment. The shampoo you got to do on your own, but
Okay.
I'll get to the important part.
We can start with that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Go buy Hairdice.